Hello, Periscope land. Push my laundry out the way. Hi, guys. Welcome. Hello, Miss Harris. Dryolanda Lindsay. Welcome. How are you this evening? Are you guys picking me up okay? Marriage for real. Hey, Miss Tika. Coach Wilford. I just see Miss Ebony came in. Miss Will. Welcome. Hey, Ladybug. The intercessor is in. Hey, Miss Beautiful yourself. Good to see you. T. Bookter. Oh, they coming in. Welcome. Hello. Good to see you. My three heartbeats. Good to see you on this evening. 7_lust joined. Okay. My will for her. Welcome. I'm here by myself, y'all. Hey, CT Rogers. Good to see you this evening, girl. How are you? You saw it. Well, wonderful. Good. Hello. Hey, Tanya, good to see you this evening. Where's everybody from? Quick shout outs. You know, Dwayne usually is on here with me and he does that whole part about sharing. And so you guys, I still haven't gotten it down after all this time. So I think if you're on a Houston, Chi-Town, Columbus, Ohio, St. Louis, Tennessee, and South Carolina, Meet the Smiths. Hey, so this must be the wife that's on. Or Meet the Smiths, did you guys change your names? Did you? Yes, to share on Apple. Thank you, Miss Tika. Swipe to the right. And if you on an Android, please swipe up to share. We've got some good stuff for you on tonight, and hopefully you'll be blessed. Come away better for it. And we just want to get right into the meat of it. Brooklyn. I've never, you know what? In all of my travels, which not honestly hasn't been a whole heck of a lot. Thank you for sharing. But I've never been to New York, and so I am interested in going to New York. This is the wife. Hi, Debbie from the Poconos. Hi. Are y'all in the Poconos right now? Because I'm used to seeing Mr. Smith. So it's very nice to see you, Debbie, on here tonight. Very nice to see you on tonight. So we're going to get kind of, y'all live there? Oh, Jesus. You live in the Poconos. Does it just sound as romantic as it sounds to live in the Poconos? Hey, Miss Lolita, good to see you on this evening. Good to see you. So some of you all hey Larissa, saw Dwayne's scope. It's romantic. Oh, that is so awesome. Well, so glad to see you here on tonight, Miss Debbie. Some of you all seen Dwayne's scope early on today, and he talked about one of the top 3 things that, that marriages suffer from. And we know that, he came from Dee's Huddle, and he spoke about this, the men. One of the biggest problems is it being the men. Yeah, that ain't rocket science. I'm sorry. No, that's not true. That's not true. Right? We jealous they live in the Poconos. But he just basically talked about how the men's responsibility in the household is, and just all the weight that they carry, that they should carry, that they don't. And it seems like he took some heat early because I was working, but I was watching, but I couldn't respond. And so, I'm the first person to come to my husband's defense. I'm like, so what he was meaning to say was, I'm sorry, but I couldn't. And so one part that Dwayne had said earlier today was that yes, and hello to all the replay watchers. Thank you, Miss Tika. If you all see Marriage for Real on here, that is our support. It is not me and it's not Dwayne. It is Miss Tika or Chris, and they kind of help us out, and we love them, and we thank you for it, in directing us. So to all of our replayers, watch, share, give hearts, all that stuff, and follow us. We're kind of cool. Yes, thank you. So hey. So back to what Dwayne was saying. Dwayne was saying that a woman cannot raise a man, and I've seen some stuff on here, and someone was saying, well, woman can raise a man, and blah blah blah. And Dwayne said, well, a woman can raise a good person, but in and of herself, that balance from the male is needed, is what he was saying. And so some things lack in a man if he doesn't have that counterbalance. And he's saying if a man does not necessarily have a father in the household, that he normally finds someone to emulate, another man. So that's what he was saying. He was not saying women can't raise men. Well, he was saying it, but he gave the reasons why. So just wanted to clarify that. So women, It's our turn. Did you guys share? Did you guys invite? Because this is going to be really, really good. And it's one of those pills that we need as women, and we're going to take it tonight. We're going to put our big girl panties on. We're going to, a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. I ain't coming for us. You know what? Ebony, the word tells us, the iron sharpens iron. And so we just going to get some sharpening here on tonight. So Dwayne just kind of earlier talked about one of the big things, that the men not standing in their place that they should. And so here we go. So my point of view, so we know top 3 things in marriages is infidelity, finance, and those things. But there is a root system to all these things that kind of, the problems in your finance. You see, I don't want to swallow. Well, you're going to swallow it tonight, Tika. Pregnant and all. You swallowing it. Dwayne spoke earlier about getting at the root of things. When we see infidelity in our marriage, when we see lack of respect in our marriage, when we see miscommunication in our marriage, we don't see those things. When we see those things, that lets us know there's something else happening underneath everything, and we need to get to the root of it. And so Dwayne was right earlier when he said one of the problems in the household is the man. He got to get his stuff together. It is time for our men to lead. It is time for our men to stand up. It is time for, yes, thank you, Tika. It is time for our men to walk in their role, God-given roles that God has called them to. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for inviting Angie. But ladies, here we go. We have our part 2. Okay, thank you. We got to do our parts too. And that part is this. When the word tells us that a man who finds a wife finds a good thing, and he finds favor with the Lord. So that's wonderful, because we can say, oh, our husband's favor is wrapped up in us. You know what I'm saying? He's got to kind of do right by us, and all those type of things. But hey, Natural Divas. Hey, I'm so glad that you were on earlier. I didn't get a chance to give you a shout out back, but I did see it. We have a responsibility. I was talking to someone earlier in this week, and this woman, my husband is on. Hey, Kapow School. I was talking to this woman earlier in the week, and she was saying just some of the shortcomings that her husband has, and how she has a very difficult time dealing with it. And the thing that I noticed about this woman is the things that her husband lacks in is something that she's very, very strong in. And the issue with her was that she didn't really have the patience to deal with them. And so she felt like, well, he's a man, he should, there's some things that it just should be just done. Well, praise the Lord. I shouldn't have to tell him this or do that to them. I'm like, but you are his favor. There is something in you that God meant to unlock in him. You are called to be a help meet. The Bible says a help that is fit for your husband. Fit means there's a space in there like a puzzle. You have a puzzle, and you know how you just putting different pieces of the puzzle inside the puzzle to make it come together? Well, there's only one piece that fits. So when the word says a helpmeet fit for your husband, that means you are that one piece that fits. Like that rib that was taken out, that rib is going right back in there. But we oftentimes as women, our biggest thing in our marriages obviously is this: our mouths. Right? Oftentimes, we know every single one of our husband's weaknesses, but we never talk about his strengths. It is very, very important for a man, to feel so respected and to be elevated in his home. You said you don't want to swallow it, Tika? You got to swallow it, Tika. That mouth. We have to learn how to build our husbands up. We need to speak more often of their strengths than their weaknesses. But it seems like their weaknesses are always before us. Like we can always see where they're coming short in because it affects us. Their weaknesses affect us. But we don't spend half the time in their strengths as we do in their weakness saying, babe, that was awesome. You are so good in this area. And I'm not just talking to talk to you all. Toy is talking to Toy. Babe, you can say amen. He can say, hey, baby, how are you? And so I'm guilty of that. I tell my husband often that I think that he's very bright. I think that he's intelligent. But there has been times in our marriage where he has been made to feel that he is not capable of being all. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, their strengths are being drowned in the disappointment. Say that again, Seven. Let's absolutely. We make them feel not capable of being able to do all that God has called them to be. And if we are the helpmeet that is fit for them, that means we have the goods that they need to unlock all those things that God has called them to. Amen, choir? Amen. Okay, I got that, Lord. And oftentimes I was saying to this woman, I said, you spend so much time using your wonderful, awesome gifts that she has. I mean, just wonderful gifts for everybody else, but not for your husband. Yes, crickets, I hear you. Amen. You can save the world, but the first person that you were meant for, even before your children, you don't use your gifts and your talents for. So a lot of us have like the gifts of administration. We have gifts of creativity. We have gifts of this. And we use it for everything else, but not for our husbands. We can edify, exalt everybody else. We can tell the next woman, next man how awesome they are, how awesome they look, how your outfit is so nice. But when it comes to our husbands, we like, crickets. The word tells us that the unmarried woman, well, the things that she does is for the Lord. But for the married woman, her intentions are towards her husband, not ours. We'll serve everybody all day. Sister, and it's the truth. I know my husband is gonna need some water. My husband can say amen to this right now. Sister this can call me. Sister this can call me and got 1,000 problems, and I'm sitting on the phone. Yeah, okay. You should do this. You should do that. Okay. He got a problem. Like, I'm so tired. Can you figure that out? Or is it or again, I thought we already talked about that. But my time and my attention, my ministry, women, our first ministry is our husbands. And so we look side-eyed when the next sister come up and looking at him some type of way. He said, yep, crickets. It is not to demean you, to condemn you, or any of those things. It's to make us all better, y'all. We all have to get so much better at this. We have to be so much better at wifing our husbands. Wifing your husbands. Finding out what that means, finding out what that looks like, and learning the strengths of your husband. You should never, ever stop studying your spouse. That goes for men and women. Never stop studying them. When you think that you have them figured out, when you think that you can do A, B, C, yeah, wife your husband. When you think that you have them all figured out and there's nothing new to learn about them, either they're dead or there's something wrong, because they should always be learning. So there's always something new about them. There's always something unfolding about them. It's one of the wonderful things. My first and last marriage, absolutely always willing to learn. It's a beautiful model that the Lord laid down before us. Just when you think that you got the Lord figured out, or just when you think you got his ways figured out, he comes up with something new. It's the same thing with us as spouses. Just when you think you got your husband or your wife figured out, there is something new to learn. The Lord would never have us to be stagnant. The Lord would never have us to feel like we've arrived in our marriages. We are always learning. As spouses, we are always growing. And so if we're growing, then that means there's something to learn, because sometimes we're not always growing together. My husband's a reader. My husband's a creator. My husband does so many things that I'm not sometimes not even interested in. But there's some things that I need to stop and learn about him, learn more about what makes him tick, Learn more about what he wants. Learn more about what he likes in the bedroom. Different things like that. Sounds crazy. No. But we have to. We study so many things, but we stop studying our spouses. Question, what if things have just gotten so routine that you have to take it out of routine? Even if it means throwing one thing different in your day. Even if it's like, you know what, and Antika, I don't know if you're asking this for yourself or you're asking this for just as a general question. But I'm gonna use Dwayne as an example. I know that when Dwayne gets home, he normally is gonna do a couple things. He's gonna go to the gym. It's a general question. Okay, he's gonna go to the gym. He's gonna be down. I'm my husband's fourth wife and making sure I'm his last. Oh, well, praise the Lord. I hope you are too. He's either at the gym, he is downstairs at his computer, or he's taking a power nap. One of those three things that he's doing. It's got to be something thrown into today. Say, babe, babe, hey, Shatanya. Babe, I am on my way home. Meet me here at Baskin Robbins. We're going to grab some ice cream. Throw something different in the day. Have conversations and let him know that we kind of getting stagnant in our marriage. We do have a YouTube channel. You have to follow us on YouTube. My husband doesn't like doing nothing different. The intercessor, you got to show him different in the way that he likes it. I made myself laugh. I made myself blush. You have to start showing him things. Not just saying how my husband doesn't like leaving the house. Then show him some new stuff in the house. You have to sometimes with men, you have to usually laugh and show him some stuff that he like, I am kind of liking this new stuff. Show him there's some things, babe, that he does like. Trust that. That means you're going to have some more conversation. And I'm not actually just talking about just sex, but there's some things that maybe that he's fearful of going out and doing. Maybe there's some reasons why he's afraid to venture out. Maybe he's just a person just fine and set in his ways. New is good. Yes, new is good. There it is. Maybe he's just set in his ways. So you need to express to him, babe, I would really like to try this or try that. Let's try it. Do it in baby steps, but start interjecting new things into your life. If you make the same thing every week, try making a new meal. I did that this week, is why I said it. My daughter had been sick for the last 5 days, which is why we had not been on. And so she had been in the hospital, and so finally she's home now. And so we were really hungry because we had been kind of just eating kind of whatever. And I found this recipe, and it was for like a Cajun stew. It was fun. It was like restaurant worthy. Start interjecting new recipes into your meal. I know you cooking, but make a day and say, babe, let us cook. Let us cook together. Make it a romantic meal. It's gone, Tika. Make an exotic meal. Make a sexy meal. Make some chocolate covered strawberries. Y'all do it together. I mean, find different things that you can do to interject into your marriage that is something new. Tika, call somebody. Say, I need you to come watch the kids for 2 hours while me and Chris go out and grab a movie. Something different. Nobody likes to eat the same thing every day. Try something different. And that's part of... The Lord made us so wise. I always say this, and I tell women who've been married for some time, if you don't have the ear of your husband, that is a problem. Every woman should have her husband's ear. You should be able to say something to him and cause him to respond. Now, if what you say falls on deaf ears, that is sincerely a problem. There is a communication breakdown. There's something wrong. If you don't have his ear, who has it? Will be my next question. Because there be whatever I know, babe. But that's the nature of things. I think sometimes as women, what we don't really recognize is that our words, when I went go back and talking about the mouth earlier, carry so much weight with our husbands. You may think the words that you say are kind of falling on deaf ears and he ain't listening to you. Trust me, you do. Hubs has ADHD and has cancer. Oh my gosh, Stephen Luss, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. We'll keep him in our prayers. Give us his name so I can actually. Oh, he is a cancer. Oh, he doesn't talk. Oh, well, if I went by, well, here's the thing. My husband was not a talker. And my husband would tell you be the first one to tell you that I gave him a personality. He would be the one who sat in the corner. He would observe everybody else, would not talk. People often thought that he was mean. You would never be able to tell that by my husband. You would never be able to tell that by the way that he talks now. And he always says, you gave me. Yeah, I thought, my 3 heartbeats. I thought that he had cancer too. I was like, oh gosh. But he always says, you gave me a personality. It was something in me that made him feel comfortable about being himself. And that's a key. And babe, if you're on, could you run down and kind of talk to that for a bit, please? Thank you. There was something about me that made him comfortable in being himself. As a wife, there was a scripture that I wanted to kind of pull up too. It was Proverbs 10:31 and 10. Oh, gotcha. It was Proverbs 31 and 10 that said, a man who finds a wife, an excellent wife, who can find? There's so much into the minds of our husbands and so much that they've been through and gone through that even as early in your marriage that you may not even know right now. There's some things that happened to my husband early in his life that I didn't even know, that it took me loving him through some situations to come and find out what those things were. But to be patient is the thing. To love him through that, to pray him through that, is really what helped him come out of his shell. I loved and still love him so much that it is very important to me that he is in a good spot. And so I am willing to be patient in that area to allow him to be who God called him to be. And so I know sometimes he said he loved it out of me, and I thank you for that. You gotta love it out of him. He has to feel comfortable and safe enough and trust you enough that he can share some of those hidden parts of himself that he is fearful of sharing. He isn't just silent with you. He's just probably silent with a lot of things, and he has a lot to share. So like someone said that you need counseling. Just get some counseling. There's nothing wrong with that. How do you know if you have or do not have your husband's ear? It's when you've said something enough times and he does not listen, or you don't see any movement, or towards what may need, or movement meaning conversation, meaning change, meaning he working on it, meaning he's bringing it back to you. Yes, it's how he responds. If he is non-responsive, then you do not have his ear. And that's just, and here's the thing. It may, like, there's some things that I can say to my husband. Now I can say, Dwayne, blah, 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 blah. And at the moment, he may snap on me about it. When you hear something, you respond. Not listening, not just something coming through your ear and going. When he hears you, he will respond to you. Even the response is negative, you have his ear. Trust me when that. Me and Dwayne have had to go back and forth on many things, but later on, he'll come back to me and say, babe, I heard you. In a time where I'm not being nagging or the situation's not happening. He'll come back, or I'll see him trying to change that situation. That's how you know, is by his response. If he doesn't respond to you, if you see no change, no movement, no nothing, not even a try, he didn't hear you and you don't have his ear. And that would be a conversation, because you are the helpmeet in the situation. You are in a marriage. He's not in this thing by himself. If something is concerning you, then it should concern him. Even the Bible tells us with God, if it concerns you, it concerns him. He wants you to consider him in all ways. Your husband, as the priest of his house, should be the same way. There's nothing else about that. Yeah, you're in relationship danger. Hubby does do that. The reason the patient is still having his perfect work in me. Yeah, and here is even a thing in that. Even if we bring something to our spouses 21 years, even if we bring something to our spouse's attention, we may not be right in that thing. It may not be something worth or needful to change. It may be that we just have a pet peeve about it, but it's still about a conversation. He will still respond to you and say, babe, because Dwayne has done this to me, I don't see that. That may be just how you feel, but it's still a conversation that needs to be had. And if it is something that needs to be changed, he's man enough to reflect on it. Maybe not at that moment. It may take him 2-3 weeks to think about it, or to the Lord to nudge on his heart, or for a situation to come back up and it show him himself. But he will work on that thing. And so if you don't have his ear, I would say, have a conversation. Watch how you said what you said. You can't come, if you're having an issue, don't say, you know what? You don't never take out the garbage. Garbage ain't never take out. Garbage day is on Tuesday. And every time Tuesday come, I'm always taking out the garbage. You need to work on that. Oh, and that pride. Don't come at it like that. Right, to you guys, we always say you got to set the mood for them hard conversations. Be a wise woman. The Lord has given us so many weapons in our arsenal. Use them. Use more than your mouth. Use your prayer life. Use how you treat him. Oh, I have to read the scripture, so hold on. Woo, I gotta find it. Oh man, I don't think I wrote it down. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. Oh, gosh. Can't find it, but here's the thing. I want to make this point because I did just see it. I was praying about what I was going to talk about. He said, you're going to shoot him, kill him, everything. I was praying and asking the Lord what way that this conversation need to go. And I heard a word, and it was governor. And so I looked up the word governor. Of course, you know what a governor is. A governor is a person who resides over the state, makes decisions for the states, vetoes, bills, what happens with the state, not the country. That's the president, husbands. We're talking about the state. And he said we need to learn how to govern our emotions. Just because we feel a certain way about things, just because we feel a certain way about the way that he spoke or the way that we perceive things, does not make it right. We need to learn how to govern our mouths and govern our emotions. What comes up does not need to come out. Absolutely right. Governmental order. And how do we know that that is right? Because God is a God of order. We need to learn a meek and the quiet spirit. Absolutely. Now that's a tough one to swallow. Even though we're not, and you know what, Shatanya, that is a very difficult thing to govern, because we are led by that. A lot of us are led by our emotions, how we feel. I feel like I'm in a marriage by myself. I feel like I'm raising these kids by myself. I feel tired. I feel this way. I say what you mean what you say, and words came. Absolutely. Stop being governed by your emotions. Look at the fact of the way things are. Look at the facts and the truth, of the way things are. And don't be governed by your emotions. Do not let your emotions carry you from here to there, and you find yourself in a place that you didn't want to find yourself by, an emotion that you felt at that moment. We make permanent decisions based off of temporary feelings. There's some days, y'all, I just wake up and just don't feel my best. There's some ways that I've woken up and just felt sad, or they say woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Just woke up that way. Nothing happened. Nobody said anything to me. Just woke up that day. We shut down in the face of raging female emotions, I guess. But we have to learn how to govern our emotions. And the best way, I guess, to govern our emotions is through the word. And that's just the truth of the matter. We have to govern our emotions through the Spirit of God. Now, have I snapped? You said, or dreams where you want to smack him silly. Have you ever had a dream where brother cheated? Like, you wake up like, what's going on? Or have having them situations. Power School, I can't help it. I'm hormonal. Miss Tika, you know we don't do the can't help it. We don't do the can't help it because you are fully capable and in control of yourself. You have to speak to those emotions. Say, this is not what it is, girl. You having a moment. Sit down. So I have literally had to tell myself, go somewhere and sit down. Just stop talking because I've been getting on my own nerves. Have a Snickers. Yes, men don't know how to properly process a woman's emotional nature. If you're going to comment, then you might as well come down. Because our emotions can change by just the slightest of things. Our emotions can change. Someone can say one word to us and then it changes. Yeah, he gets defensive, upset when I start crying. Yeah, most men cannot handle the crying. But for women, that's one of the ways that we emote. That's one of the ways that we get things out, and our husbands can't always relate to that. And so it's a little bit difficult for them. But sometimes women, we use our tears as manipulation too. We know that if we cry, they're going to shut down, or they're going to start talking, or they're going to give in to whatever we want if we start crying because they can't handle that. What if they follow you when you try to avoid response? Well, well, then they asking for it. I'm joking. I know, Shatanya, I know, right? Like they have to figure out, but here's the thing about it. They have a responsibility as well to figure us out. It's not just about us, but there's something in us that God put in us that made us able to, we're more sensitive to things. Men normally are not as sensitive. You're doing just that, giving us information. A lot of men are not as sensitive as we are as women, but that's the way God made us, to be sensitive so that we can tap into the needs of our family and tap into the needs of our husband and kind of pick out some things that he would never see. Like, say for instance, I remember for a brief time I was working, good evening, Miss Ship, with my kids. And when I was working, it was very difficult for me to pick up some of the things of my children. But when I was off work, the slightest change in their temperament, the slightest change in their conversation, I knew that there was something wrong. My husband, on the contrary, did not necessarily pick up on those things. God made us that way. He did. He gave us some of the most sensitive parts of who he is, and he put that inside of us. I remember I used to always complain about being so sensitive to things, like cry at the drop of a moment. But the Lord said to me, I've given you one of the best parts of who I am. It's an attribute of who he is. He said, why would I despise that? We serve a God who is sensitive to us, sensitive to our emotions, sensitive to the way that we respond, sensitive to the ways that we are. He gave us those same attributes and we despise them. But he gave us to them as a weapon for our husbands, as a weapon for our children, as a weapon for our churches, as intercessors. He gave that to us. And it's an attribute of who he is. Don't despise that and don't refuse to use that. That is a weapon that you have to build a stronger marriage, to build a stronger children, to build stronger workplaces, or wherever you are. It's a gift, baby. Use that. If you're not, use that. The world teaches us not to be vulnerable. Well, that's the world. That's what they're going to teach you. That's what they're going to teach you not to be. They're going to teach you to do anything that is against God. They're going to call wrong right and right wrong. So if that's what the world is teaching us, then we should automatically know we got to go the other way. Guard your heart, guard your feelings. Don't let nobody get too close to you. Somebody get close to you because they want something. We got to learn how to become spiritually mature enough to be able to be discerning of a person's intentions. And then even if you feel like a person's intentions are not the best for you, I love a prophet, Pastor Stevenson said this, Apostle Stevenson said this last Sunday. He said, it may be something that even your enemies have to feed off of you. That was so powerful to me. You said, I have nothing to give, honey. My boss just told me to have a tougher skin. Why? Why? And I love that he said that. He said, your enemies may have to feed off of you. So you have to be very discernible enough and strong enough to just kind of stand in those places and know that some people are going to come in and use you. It's a part of life, but that don't make you stop living. That should make you have a hardened heart. You need to learn to govern your emotions, women, and govern your mouths. I am working on that myself. I'm working on everything that comes up does not need to come out. I'm working on it. I am a work in progress. I have not arrived. Dwayne and I have been married for 21 years. And he will tell you I am still working on that, because there's some things that I feel like just need to be said. And you know what I'll say? Well, it's the truth. Like, if it's a lie, then I probably shouldn't say it, right? But it's the truth anyhow. I don't care how you take it and how you receive it. It's the truth. Sometimes we feel like we just need to give that medicine right then and there. We don't care how you swallow it. Yes, govern your emotions. You need to work on that. We all need to work on that. We need to work on that, because a lot of times our emotions take us a lot further than we want to go. You said working, and so you knowing, you said I tell us the truth. Yes. You knowing that we need to govern our emotions, then we need to be very mindful of that when we enter conversations. We need to be mindful of that. You know what? My response may not be the proper response right now, and take a longer time to respond. I'm not saying we don't even have to respond at the moment, but weigh the words that you speak before they come out of your mouth. You said, because you all pent up. Well, Shatanya, we talked about creating the mood or the atmosphere for the real conversations to be had. And there are some times where conflict is necessary. There's times when you do have to speak. There's time. We did a scope on this about necessary engagement, having necessary conversations. Even though they're hard conversations, even though they're tough conversations, you need to have them. But you need to have them at the right time. Shatanya, I guess my question would be, if you're tired of talking, then who are you talking to? If you're tired of, the Virgo in me doesn't want to confront and then blow when it happens. If you're not seeing results when you're having the same, because I know we all know it's like, and I'm sure my husband does too, to have the same conversation over and over again, to feel like you're not being heard, or to feel like, that nothing is changing, then you need to turn that conversation in a different manner. And I know that we always say, well, pray. Well, I'm telling you, pray. Things change for a day, and then that's it. But here's that other thing. Then you work on it. You walk the walk that is necessary for you to walk, to whether you bring about conviction and then bring about change. You can't be just as pent up and frustrated as he is. Yes, take that to God. Take that. If you can't, I've learned I cannot change my husband. My husband is a man all of himself. I did not create him. I did not make him. I don't have the remote button or to change the things that I want to change in him, but I definitely have some strategies and tools in my arsenal. I have a heavenly Father in heaven who hears me, who loves me, and who loves him and desires to see the best in us. And so I've learned to take those things to prayer in him, and meanwhile, living my part of it. See, what we normally do when our husbands are not doing what they're supposed to do, we stop doing what we're supposed to do. We stop doing what we're supposed to do. We're like, okay, well, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do, then I ain't going to do what I'm supposed to do. Well, you're both wrong then. Who's helping who? When is change going to come? Well, if he ain't going to do this, then many women feel like, and here's the truth of the matter, if their spouses aren't walking the way that they should, they think, tell the dream for the newbies. Okay. They think that they don't have to do what the word tells them to do. If that's the case, like my 3 heartbeats said, you both walking in rebellion. How do you think that you should receive anything from God? You're not even in your right place. How can God even hear you? He can't even get him because you busy getting him. You busy paying him back. You busy withholding from him. You busy telling him what he's not going to get and how this is not going to happen because he's not acting right. God well, you took care of it. How's that working for you? Keep on. And after a while, you'll be frustrated enough, crying enough to where you feel like you can't do nothing else. Yes, absolutely. Then you'll take you behind and say, oh, so what you say, God? You said pray. Oh, okay. You said anoint his pillow. Okay. You said make sure you take time. You said, Lord, speak well of him. Speak well of him. A lot of times, yes, somebody got to be the bigger person. And oftentimes the requirement is to be to the man. But even if it's you, woman, you do it. Begin to speak life to him. Begin to speak well of him. We spend so much time, as we said earlier in the scope, on looking at him and seeing where he's not, where he's falling short in, where he's not coming up in. Speak well of him in the places where he's doing well in. If brother is good at getting up in the morning and going to work, say, I so appreciate you getting up in the morning and providing for our family. You are a good provider. If that's the only thing that you can say, you exalt that thing like he's the king of England. Babe, you went to work today. Let me make your lunch for you. You hungry? And you may think it shouldn't take all that. But what if it does? Be willing. God showed me my husband's pain and my heart broke. Oh, Miss Jazzy Bella, you're going to make me cry about that. That happened to me. As you know, if you followed us any point in time, you will know that we've had infidelity in our marriage. And we've had infidelity in our marriage on both parts. And the first part was me. It was me. And I saw my husband's brokenness. I saw how his heart was broken. I saw how he wept. I saw all those things, but my heart was hurting because he was hurting, right? Like I could feel a level of pain, but not to the level of pain to what he was feeling. I remember driving in my car and I was praying and the Lord allowed me to feel the pain that he felt, and it broke me. It broke me to the point to where I said I would never cause anybody that level of pain again in my life, because it was so heart-wrenching that I had broken the heart of the man that I loved. A lot of our spouses come from so many broken places, and where we're sitting there frustrated and angry, we don't even realize that we're looking at brokenness. Maybe not by us, maybe by us. That we're looking at frustration, that we're looking at dreams unfulfilled. Maybe there's a conversation that the enemy's having with them saying what he's never going to be, or this is never going to happen for him, or time is up. But Shatanya, I know you've personally been on here so many times before. But when I tell you, girl, you got the goods. You got the goods to see that thing to fruition. If you can push through and bypass you and what you're feeling and allow yourself to look at that man and see the places that he's broken in, pray and say, God, show me where he's broken in. Show me what I need to do or what I can do, how I can help you. When I tell you and promise you that it will change for you, I know you're frustrated. I know you're tired. I know you feel like if I do anything else, I know it feels like everything is on your plate, that you are carrying the load. You have the goods. What the enemy tends to do to us as women, he overwhelms us in situations in this. If right now the major attack is coming towards your husband, and the attack is at your husband, that means that attack is going to affect you. And if it has children, it's going to affect your children and anybody that you all have contact or relationship with. Now, if I know that the point of my enemy's attack is at my husband, where do you think I'm focusing on? My husband and the attack that is coming at him. we spend so much time focusing on the other things. It's like a magician. A magician is showing you the trick right here, and you looking so intently at the trick that you miss what's really happening. You're missing what's coming around the other way. We're missing the sleight of hand. If you know the attack is against your household, then you take the same weapons of warfare and you stand up against that. Who knows your mate better than absolutely who? Nobody does. And you have the authority to be able to stand in the gap for that man. And sister, I know that you said you've been standing. I know that you have, but you've got more in you than you think you do. You were ordained for that man. Further later, if you just new joining us, after I found out about my husband's infidelity, that happened some time after, I sat and I thought, what this chick got on me? Toy thinks she kind of cute. I know that I'm a godly woman, love the Lord. I serve my husband, serve my children. What she got on me? I was devastated. And the Holy Spirit, right in the midst of those thoughts in my head, said these words to me. Stop. I ordained you for him. You don't have to, he ordained you for that man. You have what's in you to make it happen. You coming somewhere? Here you come on downstairs, y'all. You have it within you. You do. You were ordained for that man. You may say you are the help meet that was fit for him. But you say he's broken. Well, you got the keys to fix it. So I know you're tired. I know you're probably saying, I'm tired of hearing people say pray. But that's the answer. You pray until something happens. And I know that's the PUSH acronym that people in the church use. You pray until something happens. I would never allow any person, oh, praise the Lord, I would never allow any natural person to walk into my house and attack my husband and I do nothing. While he's taking a physical beat down, I would never sit there and watch somebody attack him. I'm going to pick up every broom, gun, praise the Lord, lamp, whatever that thing is, and help him fight. But we don't do that. We see our husband struggling, and we like, physician, heal yourself. Fix that. Whatever's going on, you fix that. But it's the same. We allow the enemy come in and run up the front of our husbands and down the husbands, attack him in his mind, attack him in his body, attack him in his job, and we sit. I'm like, wow. Yeah, you have much power. You Rising Radiance, we have much power. And the enemy will make you feel like you're useless, or it's because it's happening, because you're being affected by it. Like what's happening to him is affecting you. If something's happening and it's affecting me,
she preaching, y'all.
I'm gonna hurt him. then sister gonna fight. You're not gonna take both of us out. They said, hey, You're not gonna take both of us out. I'm gonna fight for both of us until we can fight together. Period. Point blank. That's all. So on tonight, while we're kind of wrapping this thing up, like you better, right? We are to govern. Yeah, I'm gonna stick you. You present as one. Rising to greatness. Absolutely. Is that the revelation? Yeah. So Tika said, tell the revelation. Right. Okay. So I was in prayer some time ago, early in our marriage, maybe mid-part in our marriage, and I remember praying. And I remember in prayer, I could see myself going before the throne of God. And I remember for some time just noticing this person, but never really asking the Lord about this person. And so after a while, I kept noticing this person was there. And finally I said, Lord, I said, like, who is this person next to me? Like, this is an intimate time between you and I. Why is this person here? And he said, daughter, when you come to me, your husband comes to me as well in spirit. I see you as one flesh. You two see yourselves as separate. I see you as one person. So whenever you come, he comes. Whenever he comes, you come. I see you as one person. The word tells us that the two shall become one. In the natural, we're seeing ourselves apart. God does not see us like that. He sees us as one person. Somebody broke into our house some time later after that. My husband was so angry that I could even be mad. Like, like if your husband even thinks somebody has offended you, or made you mad, he about to just blow up, right? So he was angry, and I couldn't even be mad because he was so mad. I said, Lord, you gotta tell me what to do. And he said, begin to rebuke anger in yourself. And I was like, but I ain't mad. He's mad. He said, rebuke anger in yourself. He says, daughter, when you get this, you will be so much further along. I see you as one flesh. So I said, this must be some devil magic here. So, but okay, Lord. So I began to rebuke anger in myself. I began to come against those things. My husband walked back in that house, calmed all the way down, and really ready to deal with the situation. Now, it worked, but even at that moment, it took me years later to understand the power of what that is and how God sees us. That's why I'm telling you, Shatanya, you're not helpless in this situation at all. You have great power, great authority. You have to operate as that one person. You're not. You're looking at your situation, and you're looking at your husband, and you're looking at the situation that's happening, and you're acting as if it's happening to him. It is happening to you all. It is happening to you. So you have great power and authority to take authority over that thing and change it. And I'm telling you, it works. Craziest thing happened, but it was one of the greatest revelations that I ever received from the Lord. It helped me so much further along. Hey,